What would you do if your life was seconds away from pain, and one truth could stop it instantly? Have you ever been in a situation where everything felt unfair and no one was listening, until suddenly one detail changed everything? And what if the identity you almost forgot was the very thing that could save you? In Acts 22:22-29, we step into a moment of intense pressure, fear, and unexpected revelation. Paul has just finished sharing his testimony before a furious crowd. For a brief moment they listened, but the instant he mentioned being sent to the Gentiles, everything changed. The silence shattered. The crowd erupted again, louder, angrier than before. "Rid the earth of him," they shouted. "He's not fit to live." These were not calm disagreements. This was rage at its highest level. People were throwing off their cloaks, tossing dust into the air. An ancient expression of outrage and rejection. It was emotional, it was chaotic, and it was dangerous. The Roman commander, unable to understand the cause of such intense hostility, decides to take control of the situation. He orders Paul to be taken into the barracks and interrogated, but not through conversation, through force. The plan is simple: have Paul flogged until he reveals the truth. This was a common Roman method. Brutal, effective, and feared. A person would be stretched out, bound, and whipped with leather lashes, often embedded with sharp materials designed to tear the skin. For many, this was not just punishment, it was a death sentence. And now, Paul stands on the edge of that reality. He is brought inside. The soldiers begin preparing him. They stretch him out, tying him down, getting ready to strike. At this moment, everything seems lost. No one from the crowd is coming to defend him. No explanation has been accepted. No justice has been given, just pain about to begin. But then Paul does something unexpected. He speaks, not loudly, not dramatically, but with calm precision. He turns to the centurion standing there and asks a simple question. "Is it legal for you to flog a Roman citizen who hasn't even been found guilty?" That's it. One sentence, one truth. And suddenly, everything stops. The centurion freezes because this changes everything. In Roman law, a citizen had specific rights, rights that could not be ignored. One of the most important protections was this: a Roman citizen could not be beaten or punished without a proper trial. To violate that law was not a small mistake. It could bring severe consequences upon the one who ordered it. The centurion immediately goes to the commander. "What are you going to do?" he asks. This man is a Roman citizen. Now the tension shifts. Just moments ago, Paul was powerless, at the mercy of soldiers preparing to beat him. Now those same soldiers are stepping back. The commander approaches Paul and asks directly, "Tell me, are you a Roman citizen?" "Yes, I am," Paul answers. The commander responds, "I had to pay a lot of money for my citizenship." But Paul says something even more striking: "I was born a citizen." This is not just status, this is identity. Paul was not trying to escape the situation earlier. He endured the accusations. He stood before the crowd. He shared his testimony. But when it came to unjust punishment, when the law itself was about to be broken, he did not remain silent. He spoke up. And because of that, everything changed. Those who were about to interrogate him withdraw immediately. The commander himself becomes alarmed, realizing that he had already violated protocol by ordering Paul to be bound. Fear replaces authority, caution replaces aggression, and once again Paul is preserved. This moment reveals something deeply important. God's protection does not always come through miracles. Sometimes it comes through wisdom, through timing, through knowing when to speak and what to say. Paul could have mentioned his citizenship earlier, when he was being dragged by the crowd, but he didn't. Why? Because his mission in that moment was not to escape, it was to testify. But now, in this moment, facing unjust punishment, he uses what God has given him. And this is where we see a powerful balance in Paul's life. He is deeply spiritual, but also wise. He trusts God fully, but he does not ignore the tools and rights available to him. He is not passive, but he is not reckless. He understands when to endure and when to speak. This is something many of us struggle with. We often think faith means staying silent no matter what. Or we believe that standing up for ourselves means we lack trust in God. But Paul shows us something different. Faith and wisdom can walk together. There are moments to endure quietly, and there are moments to speak boldly. The key is discernment. Paul did not use his citizenship to avoid difficulty altogether. He had already suffered much: beatings, imprisonment, rejection. But in this specific moment, when injustice crossed a clear line, he did not allow it to continue. He spoke truth, and truth stopped the whip. Think about that. The situation did not change because Paul fought physically. It changed because he spoke the right truth at the right time. This also reminds us of something else. Your identity matters. Paul's Roman citizenship was not something he earned in that moment. It was something he already had. But if he had stayed silent, it would not have protected him. In the same way, many people live unaware of the identity they carry. As believers, you have an identity in Christ. You are not defined by the accusations of others. You are not defined by the chaos around you. You are not defined by the crowd. You are defined by who God says you are. But if you don't know that, if you don't speak that, you may find yourself living beneath what has already been given to you. Paul knew who he was, and when the moment required it, he declared it, not with pride, not with arrogance, but with clarity. And that clarity brought protection. There is also a deeper lesson here about fear. Notice how quickly the atmosphere changes. The soldiers who were ready to inflict pain suddenly step back. The commander who gave the order becomes afraid. Why? Because truth carries authority. Even in a system built on power and control, truth can shift the entire environment. And this is something we often underestimate. We think we need strength, influence, or force to change a situation. But sometimes, all it takes is one clear truth, spoken at the right time, with the right heart. Paul didn't raise his voice, he didn't argue, he simply asked a question grounded in truth. And that question exposed the situation. It forced those in authority to reconsider. It created a pause where violence was about to happen. This is the power of wisdom guided by God. So what does this mean for you today? Maybe you're facing a situation where you feel powerless. Maybe you feel misunderstood, pressured, or treated unfairly. Maybe you've been staying silent, unsure if you should speak. This story reminds you that silence is not always the answer. There are moments when you must stand, moments when you must speak truth, moments when you must remember who you are. But it also reminds you to choose those moments carefully. Not every battle needs your voice. Not every situation requires a response. But when truth is on the line, when injustice is clear, when your identity is being ignored, that may be your moment. Paul didn't escape hardship entirely, but he avoided unnecessary suffering, and that matters, because God's will is not about seeking pain, it's about walking in purpose. Sometimes that includes suffering, but sometimes it includes protection through wisdom, and both are part of the journey. As this moment comes to a close, Paul stands no longer as a victim of the crowd, but as someone under protection, still in chains, yes, but alive, preserved and positioned for what comes next, because his story is not over. This is just another chapter, another moment where God steps in, not always by removing the storm, but by redirecting its impact. And maybe that's what you need to hear today. That even when things feel out of control, even when you are moments away from something painful, God can intervene. Through truth, through timing, through the identity He has already given you. So, hold on to that. Know who you are. Stay grounded in truth. And trust that God is working, even in the moments where everything feels uncertain. Thank you for watching this video. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, follow the channel, and share this video with someone who needs encouragement today.